Welcome to Anak Jaksel, Anak Kampung podcast. Dave, new day, April
Ya,
1st today. How are you, man?
ya, baik-baik saja. Itu hari baru, hari bagus.
How'd you get through today? Everything good?
Ya, lewat
Awesome.
kopi.
Is it Nutri Coffee?
I wish.
That's
I
pretty
wish it
cool.
was Nutri Kopi.
An
Not kapal
interesting,
api either.
yeah, exactly. So, an interesting topic today.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Tell us about it.
Well, we're going to be talking to you guys today, and we're going to be sharing stories about our lives back in high school. So, when I lived in Indonesia as a Peace Corps volunteer, I taught at a madrasah. And I interacted and I hung out with my students a lot, but their lives in Indonesia were very different from my life in the States growing up in high school. So I'm going to be sharing a couple of things that I did, and Leo's also going to be sharing some things, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Slovenia was also quite different to Indonesia, so I think we can share quite a bit. I also had experience uh, with my Indonesian friends talking about how was life when we were younger, and yeah. So Dave, let's get straight into it.
Yeah,
How
let's
did
do it.
like
Ayo.
how yeah how did your typical high school day or lifestyle look like?
Well, back in the day, I would get up about probably 6 o'clock, and I get up about 6 o'clock. For some of you guys, it's bangun siang, because I know my ibu woke up about 4 o'clock every morning. But in the US, 6 o'clock is pretty early to get up. So I would get up about six, and then I would take a shower, and I never ate breakfast, but I would get up, get dressed, and then I would drive to school. And when I went to school, I would drive. We had a little Toyota, so I drove the Toyota and went to school, hung out with my friends a little bit. Didn't really do that much at school. I mostly just went to class and studied and didn't really party very much. But after school, I would go to the skate park and I would rollerblade and I would try to do tricks on my rollerblades. And I also had a part-time job. So I would work probably 4 or 5 nights a week, and I tried to just work and get as much money as I could. And what about you, Leah?
Oh man, I had a lively social life. Let's put it that way. Uh, my high school was probably the best time of my life, I think. Well, quite early, I found myself in quite an independent way, like having a motorcycle, which I guess for Indonesians is completely normal. But I was 16 with a motorcycle, and I would just go around towns, villages all around, and I would just hang out. Yes, of course, I would go to some of the classes, well, most of them, because otherwise I would get in other trouble. And I did quite good at school anyway. So, but the
Oh,
thing was, for me, it was important to get to my martial arts training, to do my uh, motorcycling, and just enjoy my friends, I guess, and the company. So that was the main thing for me, just spending time with my friends. We would just go around. I live in a small town, and we have a lot of nature all around. So we would go down to the river, and just during summer we would just hop in the river and have fun there. Or we would go to the woods, and we would just make a campfire and grill, barbecue, meat, whatever, and we would just have fun like after school. Yeah, that was
that
pretty
sounds
much
really cool.
yeah, that was pretty much awesome. Uh,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? Like, how was that going around? You said like a car. You mentioned a
Hmm.
car. You mentioned your skating and
Yeah.
rollerblading days. I guess that's very American for me.
Yeah.
It's when you see an American movie in Slovenia, that's what you see.
Yeah.
So tell me about it. How did that uh, happen? How was that for you?
Yeah. So that's kind of like, I would say it was almost like kind of the all-American boy growing up, going to the skate park, trying to be cool. trying to look good for girls. And back back then, like I wore super baggy clothing for a couple of years. And then a couple of years I wore like kind of emo-ish clothing.
Mm.
And I dyed my hair for Halloween, but I normally just had like really, really short hair, almost like a crew cut. And I have my big ears, as you guys can see. So like they'd stick out like huge satellites. And yeah, I mean, I would pretty much just like very disciplined, go to school and then go skate and then go to work. And then on the weekends, I would go snowboarding. So I was on my school snowboarding team during the winters. And every winter we'd go on a ski trip we went to Oregon one year, we went to Montana another year. And for me, I was like, cool, I get to leave school for a couple of days and I get to go skiing for, it was like 30 or 40% less than like the other people paid. And I mean, you get to hang out with your friends on the weekends. So for me, it was like, I like the winter and I also like the summer because I could go skating, but kind of that in between time of like being in school. I don't know. I was kind of bored and I was kind of like, just get me out of here for the next 3 or 4 years. Just finish school. And then as soon as I'm done, you know, barangkat.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Um, did you wear a baseball hat?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I had a bunch of hats. So
Okay.
back when I was in like middle school and high school, I loved hats. And my
Mhm.
first hat was a blue University of North Carolina hat. I wore that until it fell apart. And then I wore a Virginia Tech hat.
Oh,
And then I wore like Utah hats and what else? Just a lot
why
of
not
them
Idaho,
were
man?
random. Yeah, I was in Idaho, but when I decided I was going to go to Utah for university, I started wearing Utah hats.
Oh, okay. So you
So,
went from Carolina, Jordan to
yeah,
jazz, and then
yeah, yeah,
oh, okay, fair
basically.
enough.
Because I thought back in the day, oh, I'm going to play basketball in college. I thought I was really good at
Exactly.
basketball. I can play
Yeah.
for UNC. And then in middle school and high school, I was like the worst kid on the court. So I was, I'm never going to make it. So I just kind of
So
quit.
you
And
never had your Jason Williams
no, never had my
white
Jason
chocolate
Williams.
days.
No.
That it's crazy coincidence that in Slovenia basketball is also huge,
Yeah.
and in Serbia as well, I guess. In the Balkans in general,
Hmm.
basketball is quite huge, and I also like I were into basketball. I think nowadays I'm more into basketball than I was back then because
Hmm.
back then I was also in like motorcycle racing, and we were still kids, and we were just do a bunch of things. But we would go on weekends or after school. We would go to the playground, throw some hoops, and I mean Doncic happened as well.
Yeah.
So just
Luca.
growing up in the same manner, yeah. But that was for us was that was important. Just staying active, being outside at all times. You mentioned skiing and snowboarding. Slovenia is huge in winter sports as well, and I was on the team. I was on the skiing team for I think 4 years.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was competing, but I would usually go way too hard, and I don't think I finished one race in my whole career.
Oh,
Anyways,
did you
not,
disqualify?
uh, yeah, I missed the I fell or I missed
Oh.
the door or
Hmm.
is it called the door in English?
Yeah, door gate.
Yeah. So I would just fail, I guess.
That
But
sucks.
but yeah, nowadays I cannot ski anymore. I really started to hate it
Hmm.
because I was pushing too hard when I was young, too young, and I just lost all of my willingness to do it. So I'm really good at it, but I don't want to do it. So
Yeah, well, fair enough.
yeah, I hate it nowadays. And yeah, I think for Indonesians, snow, I mean, we grew up in abundance of snow, and every winter, even this year, we had snow. We just had snow like 2 weeks ago. And it's just another Tuesday. And
Yeah.
yeah,
You wake up and the ground's white, right?
exactly. And then you show a little bit, and you say some bad words doing it, and then you move on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wanted to ask you when we were
Yeah, sure.
talking all about basketball and like winter time and
Hmm.
whatever. But let's say for you, right?
Yeah,
What were some of the things that you were like when you moved to Indonesia, obviously,
yeah.
when you realized that you're like, I grew up pretty fucking different to them. It was like, what was like the most shocking to you as a first thing?
Well, one of the biggest ones, I helped my school fix their basketball court.
Hmm.
And my school had two baskets, and they were falling apart. And my whole school community and I, we made the basketball court for the students. So we painted lines and we got new baskets. And it was a really, really cool project for everybody. And before we did it, I made a survey for the students. And I said, how many of you guys have actually played basketball? And I think like 60 or 70% had played,
Hmm.
but 90% wanted to learn how to play. So
Hmm.
they were all
Yeah.
very, very interested in it. And you had a lot of them that had played. And then when I started talking to them more about basketball, I mean, they maybe knew the rules a little bit. They'd seen it, but they'd never really played basketball like we'd played. Never really
Yeah.
played organized basketball. So I thought,
Hmm.
oh, this is a really cool idea. The students can play basketball. The girls especially wanted to play.
Yeah.
So school and I worked together and we did the project. We started a girls basketball club. We got a bunch of basketballs for the boys and the girls. And it was a very cool experience. And that was kind of for me the first real moment that, I was very lucky and I was very privileged to grow up in the States. Everybody knows basketball. I mean, these guys played soccer a lot, but I was just shocked. I mean, in inner cities and all over the US, basketball is a sport that's accessible for everybody. Soccer is too, but most people play basketball instead of soccer. And for me, it's like, oh, I really had a different life from all of these kids. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I when I came down to Indonesia, I was really not into any kind of hobbies, to be honest,
Hmm.
because I was just super laser focused on um, getting a good job and thriving there. So I was really focused on other things. But then through time and meeting more people, I figured out that yes, well, obviously the winter thing, they have zero experience that it doesn't exist. So
Yeah.
they're like, oh, snow is so great, and then I'm like a grumpy Smurf, and I'm like, God damn this snow, whatever, damn snow. And I'm like, I hate snow. And they're like, no, no, it's so cool. I mean, I want to see it. I never saw it in my life. And I'm like, yeah, good for you. Much better for you. It's just
Yeah, you're
hard
lucky. You
work.
don't have to shovel it.
Exactly. It's just because the way I see it, the way they see it, right? For them, it was romantic and
Right.
something really cool, something really nice. And then for me, I just saw a load of work before I leave house.
Hmm.
Because I was like, okay, I have to shovel before I get my bike or a car out, and then I can resume my day, right? So
Yeah.
that was kind of a difference for me. And then listening to you with your basketball experience, I figured out quite early that they are super uh, happy and familiar with football, the real football, not American one,
Yeah.
uh, and soccer. You call it soccer, right? And basketball. But the way that's what surprised me was badminton. Before, like we played badminton in high school because we were lazy,
Yeah,
because
same.
the court was really easy to make, and then we
Yeah.
were just like playing around. And I never played competitive badminton before. And then a group of friends were like, "Do you want to join us for badminton?" And I was like, "Oh hell no! I'm not gonna play this like this Asian tennis." It was like a bit. I I I can imagine that someone could see it as a bit of racist, but it wasn't
Yeah.
really that. It was just a
Yeah,
joke
yeah. Yeah.
among friends, and I was like, "You want to play Asian tennis?" And it was kind of a joke, and I was like, "I don't really think so." But then after three times or five times, something like that, that they asked me, I was like, "Okay, I will join. Let's just do it." And I come there, I was like a donkey on ice. I couldn't do anything. I was like, how do you do that? How do you move like that? How, because they know all of the steps and all of the techniques.
Oh
And I'm
yeah.
like, I'm just standing there grounded. I'm like, okay, it's actually a really, really, really hard sport. Fun fact, it's been 3 years since I've been playing badminton twice a week. So I grew into liking it. And I was a basketball and a soccer guy before. And for me, also the basketball culture, because I always enjoyed following the sport. And I guess for some listeners, they're going to learn about some of the 90s and early 2000 basketball today,
Yeah.
and just in general, like my team is Pelita Jaya Jakarta, right? And I really like that team in Indonesia. And I was lucky enough to go on some games, and I was like, I'm hardcore European guy uh, when it comes to basketball, and we have really intense games,
Hmm.
fans really included, and fans we actually know really well the tactics, and we because we grew up playing all of the tactical organized basketball things, right? So we
Right.
all think in a strategic manner of the game. And then when I was watching that, it was like an NBA game. It was just show pure entertainment, and a lot of like air balls and like
Hmm.
kid mistakes that kids would make. And
Yeah.
In Europe, the coach would go off on you. And they would kill you.
Like,
uh,
no, you're off. Sit
and
on the
and
bench.
for me, that was a lot of difference in a sense that I've been to the US, but I didn't really experience that much. And then in Indonesia, I saw that they were like following a lot of the pop culture of the US or Japan and Korea, and it was all a show. And for me, as an European, it was quite hard to get into that show mindset. But once I did, it helped me also on a professional career way because I understood much more the culture, and it was easier to work then because you have to understand that the things are taken a bit more seriously in Europe, especially the basics and stuff like that. And then some of the things in the US are more of a show and entertainment, and
Yeah.
that sells, right? And it's a good marketing, and that's what works in Asia better. And in Europe, I feel like we are much more strict to some degree, and yeah. So
Yeah.
those were most of the differences were that I have to relax much more and just embrace the Varkop life, the Indomaret life, and just take it
Yeah.
easy, socialize with people, with locals, and yeah, that was pretty much what happened. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was similar for me too. And I want to go back to badminton real quick.
yeah,
So I played badminton with my school too. And fun fact, in the 2 years that I played, guess how many games I won?
zero.
Zero. Yeah. Perfect.
Congratulations.
Ding, 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 ding. Winner, winner. I didn't
Perfect
win a
score.
single game. And I played with all of the other teachers and played with my vice principal, who's, in very, very good shape. And you look at him and go, oh, he's going to be okay. But he's really good. And all the other teachers as well. They're really, really good at badminton. And I thought, oh, I'm going to go out there and just kind of swing that racket around and have some fun. And no, they're really competitive. They're very, very
Exactly.
competitive and they take it very seriously. But at the same time, it's about going out there and having fun.
Yeah,
And if you're out there and enjoying yourself, like that's the most important thing. Yeah, people want to win, but at the
yeah,
same time, they're out there just having fun and building relationships with each other. And
definitely.
then, two, going back to the snow, it kind of helps you in a way to reframe how you think of things. Because we look at snow and go, oh, this is a pain. This is something that's frustrating. I hate dealing with it. And for them, I mean, they've never seen it before. It's beautiful. It's something that, they would love to see. People pay a lot of money to leave Indonesia to go to Japan or go to Northern Europe or the US to try skiing or to see snow for the first time.
Yeah,
So for us, it's like maybe we can reframe our minds and go, okay, yeah, it's a pain, but we're very fortunate to be able to have snow and to have 4 seasons instead of just walking outside and going, ah, it sucks. I don't want to shovel again.
yeah, yeah. It's all about the mindset,
Yeah.
and we were exposed to it for so long, and yeah, I was in the food world, and what happened to me was like I very quickly realized that they all have everything fresh.
Hmm.
And in, for example, where we have winter or 4 seasons, we always pickle something or make a sauerkraut, and we look at the ways that we store the food when it's ripe and then store it so we can use it in the winter. And that's the mindset that we have. You have to make a stock in order to survive.
Hmm.
But in tropical world like Indonesia, you always have a one fruit that is in season, and
Right.
you will not really starve to death. Whereas in Europe or the US or the northern hemisphere or completely south in
Yeah.
Australia, where you have winter, right? You actually have to think in advance to prepare yourself for those few months where there's not possible to grow anything. Well, you can still eat meat, but you need vitamins and minerals
Right.
from other foods. So that was also one of the things that I came across, and that was interesting to me.
Yeah. Same. Winter is coming.
Yeah, and the mindset, I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I need to buy I need to buy stock for this, and I'm like, if I'm in Indonesia, why do I need that? I'm like, and everyone is looking at you weird. I come to Indomaret and I'm like looking for something that I'm used to taking just for, just to make sure that I have it later on.
Hmm.
And then they're like, why do you need it? It's like, it's okay. You will just get a pisang later. A banana is going to be still in store and it's still going
Yeah.
to arrive. And I'm like making a stock. And it's just how we are wired, I guess, or grew up. And it's
Yeah.
really, really interesting how it plays with your mind.
It definitely is. Definitely is. And it's like, it's something when you're in high school, you don't recognize it. But when you go to a different country and you stay there for a long time, you really do realize like it's just very different. And it's a very cool perspective to have where you can take it and grow from it.
Yeah, and that's why they say that experience are the biggest, highest value of life.
Hmm.
And at this point, Dave, I want to thank you for sharing your experience with me.
Yeah, absolutely, Leo. And
And
to our
I think,
listeners as
yeah,
well.
exactly. And I think we learned a lot about each other, I
Yeah.
guess, and how similar it was for us. Please, guys, let us know in the comments how you feel about the seasons, your hobbies. I hope you didn't hear too much about basketball. Apparently, me and Dave are huge fans of basketball. Perhaps we will have another episode about that. But please
We
comment,
definitely will at some point.
definitely. Please, guys, let us know what you want us to talk about, and be our inspiration and co-creators of our podcast. So
Yeah.
subscribe, like, comment,
And
and
share your experiences too. You're always welcome to share with us. And I'm going to take this transcript of the podcast and I'm going to try to make an English lesson from it. So if you guys want to have listening material, then we're going to have this hopefully set up in the next couple of days for you guys. And if you want improvements or want anything different, all you've got to do is reach out, send us an email or send us a comment at the bottom of the video and go, oh, aku suka ini, atau Mister jangan berbicara tentang ini. And that's it. Udah.
ya udah. Okay, guys, sampai jumpa. I'll see you soon.
Yep. Sampai jumpa. Catch y'all later. Dadah.